Warning, the following video will contain content that is not appropriate for children. Viewer discretion is advised. Well, good morning, bitches, bastards, and motherfuckers. Welcome back for another one of my Pokemon Battle Revolution rant battles. Fuck yeah! Alright, so today I'm here to talk about some stuff. Actually, this time is gonna be more like story time, because I have a fun story I want to share with you guys of something that happened to me actually in my high school days. And it was kind of a defining moment in my life that kind of taught me a valuable lesson. Now, this may seem pretty insignificant to most people, but to me it was a huge deal. So, for those of you who may not know, back in my high school days, I was on drumline because I'm a percussionist, I guess you'd call it. I play all kinds of different instruments, like cymbals, gongs, water gongs, flexitone, vibra slap, whip. Trying to think of any of the other weird-ass instruments. But yeah, I mean, I'm a percussionist. I know how to play all kinds of different instruments. Bongos. All that kind of shit. I play all kinds of different drums and, percussion shit. So, of course, I was on drumline all throughout high school. So, after my freshman year, of course, for freshmen, they usually put them on cymbals. Like, for drumline, there's cymbals, bass drum, quads and or tenors, depending on how you view that, and then snare drum. Usually, like, tenors and snare drum are like the two highest ranked instruments. Then it's bass drum and then cymbals. Some would actually argue that cymbals is the lowest ranked, then bass drum, then tenors, then snare drum. So snare drum's like the highest tier instrument that you could play on drumline, basically. In my opinion, it's actually quads, but that's kind of how it went for our drumline, was that snare drum was like the highest tier instrument that you could play on drumline. So, going into my sophomore year, I was kind of expecting, I'm like, okay, I'm probably going to be moved up from cymbals onto a bass drum or something. And that was not the case. I was put on cymbals again my sophomore year. Which, as you guys can imagine, I was pretty annoyed by that, I was kind of frustrated. I was like, well, this sucks. I'm playing cymbals again. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still had fun playing cymbals. I was really good at cymbals. Really good. I was fucking amazing. Then again, that's just my opinion. But that being said, despite the fact that, I was a little bit frustrated with being put on cymbals again my sophomore year, I still had a lot of fun with it. Honestly, my cymbal group my sophomore year, I thought was, the best. It was me, one of the freshmen, and then one of my other friends as well. So, the three of us, basically two sophomores, one freshman, because one of the other freshmen actually got on snare drum, which was why I was a little bit really? Because one of the freshmen got onto fucking snare drum, and I'm just like, and here I am still on cymbals, and I'm just like, okay then. But that being said, again, at the end of the day, I'm a pretty relaxed, chill kind of guy. So there's that part of me that's like, well, okay then. But there's that other part of me that's like, whatever. They gave me cymbals, I'm gonna play the shit out of them, I'm gonna crash the hell out of these cymbals. So, band humor. But anyway, actually, I had a lot of fun playing cymbals sophomore year. But me and my best friend in high school, we had this idea when we were freshmen. We were like, yeah, when we're upperclassmen, we're going to both be on snare together. It's going to be awesome. We're going to totally kick ass and rock out, And it was starting to look like that dream was not going to happen, for me. So the entirety of my sophomore year, I practiced a lot with my, you know, just basic drumming, you know, like basic snare drum kind of shit. I practiced a lot. So I'm going into the auditions sophomore year, you know, sophomore year going into junior year. So I go into the auditions, right, at the end of my sophomore year to see what spot I'm going to get on drumline next year. And so at this point, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, I've got nothing to lose. You know, I mean, I'm already on cymbals. The worst thing they could do is put me on cymbals again. And then, you know, it's whatever. You know, I'd be on cymbals as a junior, but, I mean, I'd still have fun with it, so I don't really care. You know, so I went into that audition just not giving a single fuck. But I had used what I had learned because I practiced my ass off. I actually had this this reclining couch that I used. It made actually a pretty good drum pad for those of you who know what a drum pad is, because it had a good bounce and whatnot, which is kind of surprising for, you know, a reclining couch. But the recliner part had actually a good, like, you know, bounce to it, so it worked well as like a drum pad for me to practice my drumming on. So I practiced my drumming on a fucking recliner. And so I go into this audition just not giving a single fuck, right? You know, I'm thinking, you know, I'm already on cymbals. I don't give a fuck. You know, I just literally don't give a fuck what instrument they put me on. So I go into this audition and I nail it. I mean, fucking nail it. The band director was, like, visibly, like, damn. You know, that was the expression on his face, was damn. Because I practiced a lot during my sophomore year. You know, with some of the more advanced techniques and shit. And, yeah, he straight up said, like, he didn't necessarily straight up say, damn, but I could tell he basically straight up said, damn, you know? I think he said, I forget exactly what he said, but he said, like, something along the lines of, well, someone's been practicing, or something like that. And so then, at the end of, after, like, each person is done individually auditioning, they put everyone on different instruments, you know, on the drum line, and then move them around to see what works the best, you know, and they just kind of move people around, like, okay, you play snare, you play tenors, you do bass drum, you do cymbals, and they kind of just move people around, you know, to see what they like the best. And by the end of that, I was on snare drum, which nobody expected, by the way. One of the seniors, or he was a junior at the time, but he was going into his senior year, who was on snare the previous year, ended up on fucking bass drum. And I was on snare. And I'm just like, what? How the fuck did that happen, you know? I mean, I kind of felt like a douchebag, you know, for, you know, taking his spot, so to speak, but, like, at the same time, I mean, there was never any bad blood between the two of us. To be honest, I never really actually talked to him that much. I feel like out of all the people on the drum line, that particular person was the one I talked to the least. No, we didn't necessarily, like, dislike each other or anything, you know? There was no bad blood between the two of us, you know, even afterwards. But yeah, I don't know, I just never really talked to him that much, but it is what it is. You know, he never caused any problems for me, I never caused any problems for him, well, except taking snare, apparently, but yeah, so that was a defining moment for me when I was put on snare drum my junior year. I went from cymbals, the lowest tier, all the way up to snare, which is the highest tier instrument. That taught me a very, very, very valuable lesson. One, my best friend was absolutely right. And I'm talking about my best friend as in my stepbro. He told me a long time ago, he's like, man, you seem to do a lot better when you just don't give a fuck. And it's true. When I'm relaxed and calm, I tend to do a lot better for some fucking reason. I don't know why. Like, even when I'm playing video games, like when I'm playing Smash or something, when I try too hard, I tend to suck. But when I just don't give a fuck, I tend to do really good for some fucking reason. I don't know why. It's just always how I've been in my life, you know? I am at my best when I'm just winging it. You know, I'm just faking it. And that's kind of what I did when I went into that
that particular audition. I mean, I was decent. I wasn't amazing or anything, but I was just kind of like, just fuck it, fake it, do the best I can, fuck it, and somehow it worked because I got onto snare. And the other lesson that taught me was because I didn't just completely fake it. I did actually learn how to do a few of those, more advanced strumming techniques and shit. I did legitimately work hard towards it as well. I mean, to be granted, there were parts of that audition that I was kind of just, fucking around, to be honest. But I did work kind of hard. I mean, I kind of just, did some drumming on that reclining couch whenever I had some downtime, So I did legitimately put in a lot of hard work, and it paid off. And as much as I hate to say it, that was actually one of the first times in my entire life that my hard work actually amounted to something. That I worked hard on something and it actually paid off. That is one of the first times in my life that ever happened. So I learned a valuable lesson that day. Hard work and dedication pays off. It really does. Doesn't always pay off, but a lot of the times, more times than not, your hard work pays off. And I've learned that throughout the years with having my job at the restaurant. Because look at where I'm at now, my friends. Look at what all my hard work has amounted to. I have a professional recording device, 9 video game systems, and over 400 games. And let me tell you something. I worked my ass off to make all that happen. You see, everything I do on this YouTube channel, I worked my ass off to make all this happen for you guys. Everything. All 9 of my video game systems and all 400 of my fucking games. I worked my ass off to be able to get all of that. It's because it's what I love. But that year, my sophomore year going into junior year, during that audition, I learned that important lesson that hard work does pay off. Because again, look where I'm at now. I mean, yeah, my life pretty much sucks. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm still living at my dad's house and everything, so still got to work a little harder, but things could be a hell of a lot worse, I know I kind of sound like a bitch a lot of the times because I bitch about stuff a lot, but really, when you think about it, things could be a hell of a lot worse right now, so it is what it is, From where I'm sitting at, I got 9 video game systems again and over 400 games. So my life could be a hell of a lot worse right now. But never forget, guys, that if you put hard work and effort and passion into something, it will pay off in the end, one way or the other. All right. Well, guys, that's going to be it for this one, so I'll see you all next time. Peace out.